Okay, hi, I'm Ali. I am the Operations Director at BCE, and we've been delivering the Level 5 Commissioning for Wellbeing qualification now for a couple of years, and that's where I met Chris and Steph. They were on our very first pilot. At that stage, we were unsure where this qualification was going. It was quite unknown, and we set off on that journey, and thanks to both Steph and Chris for their feedback on the course, because they've helped us to develop that and take it further. Now several years in, and Chris and I have kept in touch, and it just feels that between us we have shared values about people, population, well-being, and we've just got this shared vision to make a difference, to bring everyone together, to really integrate health and social care and move people forward, and putting that person first, because actually it's not just down to the commissioner, it's down to the provider, it's down to all the parties involved in that, whether you're health, social care, children's, adults, everybody needs to come together with that shared vision. We're doing all this for the right reasons. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's inspiring the commissioners to feel confident, to kind of go forward and say, actually, this is a really good thing, inspiring them to have those conversations with providers and individuals that require support to create something new. I think it's important that we take ourselves out of that box of, I am a commissioner, I'm a provider, I am an individual who requires support. And by bringing all of that together, it's that strength in that partnership that brings out something that we haven't even thought about yet. Let's be innovative and create something that's really, really special. And we can only do that if we come together and share our really good success stories and failures, because the failures equally are the learning to go forward to say, actually, okay, well, that went wrong, but it was only this part of that went wrong. If we just revisit that and did it in a slightly way, that could be really phenomenal, and that could really change people's lives.
So hi, I'm Chris Watson from Self-Directed Futures. So I am an ex-commissioner, but I still work in commissioning. I still do consultancy projects inside commissioning, so I do still see myself kind of at heart a bit of a commissioner. I kind of met Ali a few years back around when we did the Skills for Care certificate in wellbeing, commissioning for wellbeing, and yeah, I think it was, for me, it was the first opportunity really to do a qualification specifically around commissioning and wellbeing at the same time. I thought it was an excellent kind of opportunity really for us to get together actually as a commissioning team and spend some time getting to know each other and finding out more about commissioning really. And it was the first, and bear in mind I've been a commissioner for about 7 or 8 years. I think it was the first kind of qualification I've been offered to do, which for me was quite, it was interesting from a career perspective. So I think there's that, for me, around commissioners don't necessarily have support and structure to do their roles often, and that was the first thing that drew me into this conversation around developing a network. Really was how can we provide a platform for commissioners to collaborate. And I've been involved in some great network meetings around themed kind of commissioning side stuff, but very rarely with support provider organisations as well. So there's almost, for me, it was almost siloed off. You either commissioners talking, or you were in forums with providers and you were talking, but not really collaborating together. And for me, that's a missed opportunity. My background, I used to be a support provider organisation. I used to work for one before I went into commissioning. So I'd always had that kind of dual view of, and not really a real understanding of this artificial divide between commissioners and support providers, because obviously we can't do the job without each other. So that for me was a real attraction to getting involved in doing the network, really, because it's an opportunity for, I think, for us to really draw together and see ourselves as a team of people who really want to develop and give people good lives in their communities, and be able to share, really, to be able to share stories and perspectives, because I think sometimes commissioners don't always have the perspective of support organisations, and I'd say vice versa. And I think it's really valuable to be able to do something with both of those in a room, sharing stories and supporting each other and forming up. For me, it's about building a kind of really cohesive team around commissioning and support services, basically. So that's why I wanted to get involved anyway.
So my name's Steph Lyons. I am part of Self-Directed Futures and working with BCE on developing the network. Some of the reasons of why I wanted to do it is just having been a commissioner myself in the past with responsibility for what was called independent living services, so much around AIDS adaptations, assistive technology, minor adaptations, and also some links into early help and some of the community development work that we did. I just feel it's a fab opportunity for commissioners to come together, because often, even talking on a personal level, people never really knew what my job was. It was always a bit of a myth to people. So to be in a network with colleagues who were doing a similar role, understood the world in which I was working, the challenges, the politics, providers, it's just a great opportunity to be alongside those peers and have an opportunity to talk to them. Also, I think some of the benefits will just be those opportunities to share innovation, because I would often hear about good practice going on somewhere nationally, but by the time that I tracked down the right person, some more information about it, it's just quite a timely process. So to have somewhere to go where I know that information is and hear from providers that are doing good work, to hear from other local authorities that are trying out some new innovative ways of working, it'll just be a really useful space, because similarly I was always too busy really to give myself the time to either go for a whole day to an event, but with it being so flexible as we've seen through COVID and the chance to do things online, it's just a really good place, like a one-stop shop to go and speak to peers, to find innovation, and to talk with colleagues as well about some of the challenges that you're facing and speak to them about how have they managed, because often we're facing the same issues as we go along.
That's really interesting to hear. My name's Claire Mould and I'm Director of Strategy at BCE. But this is a recent appointment, and so I'm coming from a perspective of the providers, having been CEO of charities in health and social care for over 10 years now before this position. It's really interesting. So I've worked very closely with commissioners, and it is so heartening to hear this kind of development. So as Steph says, it's good for us as providers to get closer and understand what the reality of the commissioner's role is, but equally it gives commissioners an opportunity to work closely and understand the day-to-day reality of providers and what they're facing on a regular basis. So in the current climate, the need for co-production between commissioners and providers is absolutely key. It's a symbiotic relationship. They can't work without each other if it's going to be beneficial for the individuals that all of them want to support. And that'll only come if there is this basis of mutual respect and trust. And that has to come from both having an awareness of what they're doing and an openness to listening and learning and developing. And as Steph says, this forum gives a opportunity for people to come together in a safe space to have shared learning and really look at extending from their own well-being and work as a network to develop from that point. It's a really exciting opportunity and one that we really hope that commissioners take advantage of. Steph, have you got any final comments from a commissioning perspective that you'd like to add?
I just support what you're saying in terms of it is key, that relationship, and it is, as you said, it's the time really for commissioners and providers to work together and learn from one another, because there has in the past been that culture of us versus them, but here's a real opportunity to work together and learn together. So wonderful. Just agree with what you said.
Here, here. See, we're already working together. This is a good, this is a good extension. We're going to do more of the same. So yeah, we look forward to sharing more information about commissioning for wellbeing and extending the network. So thank you very much.